Hello and welcome to the day ahead. It is Monday, February the 3rd. I'm Andrew Gagan. Well, the local share market is set to begin the week deeply negative, with ASX futures off 1.2%. This after global equity markets slipped on Friday while the US dollar gained, ahead of President Trump announcing that 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico and 10% on China. News of the trade measures saw Wall Street shares reverse course to finish in negative territory. Energy stocks led declines, with Chevron shares falling after the company reported fourth quarter earnings below estimates. ExxonMobil also slipped after its quarterly results. Apple initially rose but then fell after forecasting relatively strong sales growth. And among the big tech-related names due to report this week are Alphabet and Amazon. Overall, S&P 500 earnings for the quarter are expected to have risen 11.5% year on year. And Canada's main stock index fell as energy and consumer discretionary shares dropped ahead of the expected start of US trade tariffs. And European shares closed at a record high, led by tech stocks as earnings from companies such as Novartis and Hexagon overshadowed concerns over economic recovery. Well, over the weekend, President Trump implemented tariffs of 25% on Canadian and Mexican imports and 10% on Chinese goods with immediate effect. He also flagged possible tariffs on European goods, as well as some commodities and drugs and semiconductors, saying we're going to be putting tariffs on steel and aluminium and ultimately copper. Copper will take a little longer. Well, those countries targeted have said they'll respond with countermeasures. In US economic data, consumer spending beat estimates with 0.7% increase during December, and the core personal consumption expenditures price index rose 0.2% in December, which was in line with forecasts for an annual gain of 2.8%. Meanwhile, Chicago Fed President Austin Goolsbee has said the inflation data was a bit better than expected, and they expect the Fed's policy rate to be a bit lower in 12 to 18 months' time. Well, prior to the tariffs announcement, the yield on the two-year note rose 3.5 basis points to 4.23%. And the 10-year was up almost 6 basis points to 4.57%. And the US dollar gained against most major currencies, while the Canadian dollar weakened and the Mexican peso edged higher. Following the tariffs announcement, the Aussie dollar has fallen to 62.1 US cents. Bitcoin has also tumbled to be around 97,500 US dollars. Well, oil prices rose in aftermarket trading on Friday as President Trump said he expects his administration to decrease proposed tariffs on Canadian oil from 25% to 10% and to impose a duty on oil and gas around February the 18th. Brent crude futures for April rose 0.7% to $76 a barrel, and the threat of tariffs on copper saw it fall 0.7%. Iron ore is around $102 a tonne, and gold has risen around 0.3%, surpassing the key $2,800 mark for the first time. Locally this week, we get this month's home value index from CoreLogic today, along with retail trade data for December, the Melbourne Institute's monthly inflation gauge, ANZ job ads, and the monthly read on building approvals. Tomorrow sees the household spending indicator for December and international trade data on Thursday. Overseas, China releases its Asian manufacturing index today, and tonight, US ISM manufacturing index. Tuesday, US job openings. Wednesday, US ADP employment data and the ISM services index. Thursday, the Bank of England makes its interest rate decision. And on Friday, US non-farm payrolls for January. That's your week ahead. See you again tomorrow.